In today's video, we are going to now talk about how to bind off our project. So we've been knitting away at our little sample here. There's a complete series on how to get to this point. I will link to where you can go to start the series. But today we're going to talk about how to now what we call bind off this project. And what that means is we're going to make it so that these what are live stitches, because all of the stitches on the needles, they're called live stitches, and that means if I were to pull this needle out and we tugged on this, it's going to unravel. It's not secured in any way. The thing that is securing these stitches right now is the fact that they are wrapped around the knitting needle. So we are going to say that we are finished with our project and we're ready to bind off. And the way that we do that, this is like the most basic bind off that you can do, and it's passing the stitch over is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to knit our first stitch, just like always. We knit, and it comes off, and then we knit our next stitch. And then here's where the really interesting thing happens. We're going to take our left needle, we're going to jump over the last stitch that we did to this stitch, and then we're going to come underneath just like that, and then I'm going to pull it over that needle, or excuse me, that stitch, and we have just bound off a stitch. Okay, come in, knit just like we always do, we wrap around, we're going to pull it through, and then we're going to go to this stitch, hop over one, go to the next one. See how I'm picking it up? And I'm pulling it over, and there we go. We've bound off a second stitch. Let's do one more, and then I'll come in closer. Knitting just like always, wrapping, we pull our yarn through, stitch comes off, and now we take our left tip, insert under that far stitch, and we're pulling it over. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let me come closer. Let's come up here where you can really see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm knitting just like normal. Nothing new or different here. And we're pulling through. And then I'm taking this tip and I'm going to go under this stitch. Let's see, make sure I have the light so you can see what's happening here. Alright, so I'm picking that up and I'm pulling it over that one. Oops. And there it is, just like that. Let's see. Knitting like always. And we're going to come under this far stitch. See how I'm pulling it over, and it comes off. Let's try coming here. Okay, knit just like normal. Stitch comes off. I'm inserting here and pulling over, passing the stitch over. And then you want to make sure that you have a little room here. You don't want to have this be so tight you can't maneuver. It's just like when you're doing the cast on, you don't want to strangle that yarn. You don't want to do it when you're binding off either. You want it to be neat and snug, but you don't want to strangle the yarn. Okay, there we go. And then we're wrapping, we're pulling it through, we're grabbing the second one, we're bringing it over. And again, this is just like everything else. You just kind of have to do it a few times to get the hang of it. Okay, so we're to our last two stitches, and now we're going to pull that one over, Okay, and then we have one last remaining stitch. We're going to cut the working yarn, and then we're just going to take it and run it through the loop, and there you have it. Your stitches are secure. So it's kind of a cool thing. All of your knitted piece is going to rely on that one little knot right there. So if this goes, the whole project's going to fall apart. But here you can see we have this beautiful little sample. Let me see if you can really see the edge. Look how pretty that is. See how it looks like all these nice little knit stitches. They're pretty. So there's our project, and that's how you bind off. And we have another step that we'll do in the next video, and that's we're going to deal with all of these ends. So I hope that you will come back for that. If you would like to see the whole series of videos, I'll give you a link down below, and you can follow along as we make the whole project. But in any event, I hope that was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.